You're a business owner. You don't need another job as a content creator or somebody who's going to chase leads to book appointments. So what if you could get a system that automatically booked qualified leads whilst you sleep? I mean, literally that, like this. 10 appointments booked automatically from a cold email I didn't write or even press the send button. And what if you can have a content system that automatically creates content for your business and posts it for you, and all you got to do is just approve it. If you had that, you could post multiple times a day across multiple platforms like we're supposed to. Well, that is exactly what an AI automation system can do for your business. And that is just the beginning. So I'm about to show you a bunch of systems that make all this possible and are active in businesses today, including my own. Recently, I was the keynote speaker at the awesome Aspire Business Mastermind. There were over 500 business owners in the room, and I walked them through exactly how all this stuff works. The content system, I showed them the Outbound engine, the voice agent, video, all of it. In this talk, I took them through the 3 levels of AI, and then we dove deep into AI automations. And they saw the difference between working AI and getting AI to work for you. And it was pretty awesome seeing how the dots started to connect. So if you're kind of curious, what can AI automation do for your business? Check this out. That now allows you to unlock level 3. And level 3 is where AI works for your business. You've got to look at it through 2 lenses. It's always about time and money. What I mean by that is, an automation has to save you time, it has to save you money, and ideally make you money. Because you can have an AI automation that automatically flags an email in red because it's an unhappy customer. Okay? And what do I do with that? What you want to do with that is to say, now take the next step. Now go and deal with that customer. Now that becomes smart, because you don't have to deal with it. So we're going to dive into marketing using AI, and everything that you thought it could do, I'm going to show you a whole new level that this can go. So with marketing, very quickly, we know we have outbound sales, where you go and chase the leads, and we have inbound sales, where the leads come to you. So let's start with outbound marketing. Typically, right now, the way to do outbound marketing is you go and you get a leads list. You use an agency, such as Apollo, Clay, you pay a whole bunch of money, you get a whole bunch of email addresses, you then go and write an email, cold emails. Anybody receive spam anytime recently? Okay, so if you don't know how to do it yourself, you go hire a copywriter, and they cost a bunch of money, and then you use a system to send out that email, and there's a bunch of systems that do that. So you're spending a lot, hoping to get some results. The problem is with outbound marketing is it's a massive, massive failure rate. 95% of cold emails fail. No shit. And this is according to the Marshall Group, right? In 2025, B2B email benchmark declined even further. If we thought it wasn't bad enough, it's now dropped to 27.7% from 36%. There's only one good bit of news here about outbound marketing, and that's if you personalize it. If you have a personalized outbound mail, you're going to get a better opportunity to be seen, and yet only 5% of senders actually personalize each and every mail. Well, now that we know that, let's go back to our previous system where you have to now go get a leads list, go through 1,000 emails, go to 1,000 websites, find something that's personal about them, write your email and send them out manually one by one. Not super efficient. That's when automation comes in. So let me show you a system. This is a system, an automation system that is built. I kind of stripped it out and kind of just to show you how it works. And essentially, it says, hey, what industry do you want? Well, I'm going to type in there, home builders. Location, Florida. How many leads do I want? Well, let's just do 5. Click on submit. And that's all you got to do. The system now goes online, finds you the 5 websites, 5 email addresses, scrapes their websites, goes into an email writer. This time I'm using ChatGPT. It does research on the website, writes the called out email, does a whole bunch of stuff, adds it to my Google Sheets, and then sends it across to them. Took no time at all. And then it loops back, and then it does the whole thing again. Time taken, finding the industry, how many leads you want, and the location. This is the kind of email you get. The first line is very personalized. And then you do something a little bit out the box. You said, hey, I had my AI clone make a quick video for you.
Hey, I was checking out California Home Builders. As a family-owned business with decades of experience, you could be making some powerful YouTube videos that will bring in more customers. Reply to my email and I will tell you how.
And if people reply to the email?
Hi, this is Alex, the voice assistant from Liron Segev. You just replied to the email, so I wanted to see if I can schedule a time that works for you to chat with Liron. Is that okay?
Yeah, I suppose I can do that now.
Perfect. Okay. Here's what I found. Looks like we have an appointment available on Monday, November 23rd at 10 a.m. Or if that doesn't work, we also have Monday, November 23rd at 11 a.m. If those don't work, just let me know what time works best for you, and I will check around that time.
No, I'm kind of thinking January sometime. I don't know.
No problem. Just let me check for available times in January. One moment, please.
So an email went out automatically to my leads list. They automatically got a personalized video message. When they replied, they got an assistant who phoned them instantly, and then they could schedule a time. Did that work? Yeah. I sent out 50 emails, 13 replies, 10 appointments booked. Now, I don't know if anybody has done outbound emails. That's insane. And guess what? The first thing they said to me when we got on the calls, how do I get that system? Okay. Here's the best bit. That's my cost. Nothing. What was my time spent on that? Nothing. And that's the ROI. So an email costs less than a cent. Video to create that costs 30 cents. Voice cost 5 cents per minute. And that voice little thing was, the AI chatting thing was pretty quick. And it's smart enough that it knows everything about my business, knows access to my calendar, and he goes and books that appointment. So 10 appointments out of 50, I could do that all day long. With AI automation, time and money, did it save me time? Yes. Did it save me money? Because I'm no longer paying agencies, I'm not paying to buy leads? Absolutely. Did it make me money? Absolutely. If I can't close those 10 people, that's on me. That's not AI. Right? And you can run this as often as you want, or until you get messages from your client saying, hey, dude, can we just shut it off for a little bit? Because you can run this as often as you want. And that's the power of having an AI system. Let's talk about inbound marketing, when the leads come to you, which is pretty much my favorite.
The number one thing that will change every person in this room's life financially is making content for social media. I believe that you should be putting out somewhere between 5 and 15 posts on social media a day. Across 3 to 4 different platforms. And to the reaction, I appreciate that. The reason I always get Jesus is because most of you know you're posting once a day if you're a superstar, once a week if you're in it, and once a month if you're normal, and never if you're kind of 50% of this crowd. Content, 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 motherfuckers.
I think Gary's trying to say make content. I think. Right, who's posting 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day? Anybody? One person, woo! Okay, who wants to post much more than you're posting now? Everybody else, okay? But, again, it costs money, right? If you're gonna do it yourself, it still costs money. If you're going to do a hybrid model where you do some and somebody else films and edits, it still costs money. If you go full agency, it costs a hell of a lot of money. And you've got to justify the ROI of being able to do that. I'm going to spend 4 or 5 grand a month. Am I going to get 4 or 5 grand a month worth of ROI on this? It's a basic calculation. And if you're doing text, video, and audio, and you're doing images, the price just kind of goes all over the place. Or you can have a system that looks like that. Let me break it down. The first thing that my system will do, and again, I'm using my personal examples, so I could show you the results, because I hate theory. I like showing practical stuff. So obviously you can't show my clients, but this is myself. I ran the test so I can kind of show this to you. The first thing that it does, it says, hey, what's the topic of the day? So every day I've got a different topic. I've got this personal thing. I hate this thing called go viral. Like all these people train businesses that they've got to go viral to be able to go to make money online. I'm a personal hater of that. So let's look for a topic. Let's just say go viral. It then looks up in something called a RAG. Now, RAG you'll hear a lot when you're looking at anything to do with AI. Essentially, it's a knowledge base. And all RAG is a system which knows me, my products, my services, my customer, the psychographics of my people, the demographics. It knows what I sell, what I do, how I do it, and it's got access to everything that I've ever taught, my keynotes, my podcast, my YouTube video. It's got all that content. So step one is say, hey, let's go find you a topic for today. Step two, let me look inside your knowledge base and find you, have you ever spoken about your hate for these go viral gurus? Let me find those pieces. Let me go write some social media posts for you. Let me approve it for you. Okay, now that's important. There's a lot of systems out there that will post automatically. At the end of the day, we've got to protect your brand. We've got to protect your company. I always like to have something called a human in the loop, where I first need to approve something. Next thing, generates an image. Personally, I like these satirical, cartoon, sarcastic kind of styles. So there's a guy chasing viral, someone else building a foundation. And then it will post to LinkedIn, to Twitter, that's where I'm active, and it will write my newsletter, and it writes a blog post. And this is what it looks like in action. So it's going through my RAG at the moment, looking up my system, saying, hey, what information have you ever spoken about? Let me go find that. Let me go and create that content. Goes through that motion, takes some time, updates it. It then sends me the information to approve. I then approve it. It then uses, this particular case, it's using Gemini. We used to use different systems. Gemini is really good. Now we use Gemini. Same thing with business text AI. Finding the right models and plugging those in. And then automatically updates the system, sends my tweets, sends my LinkedIn posts, writes me an email, my email newsletter, uploads it to my Google Drive, lets me know the entire way. I get little notifications on my phone, and then it writes the blog post article that goes onto my website. The longest part of this is me doing the approval. So as I get it, the first one, I kind of go through it. AI is never going to be 100%. We cannot expect it to be. But it's going to be 80, 90%, and just a matter of just reorganizing a couple of lines, a couple of phrases, a couple of keywords. And then that's the longest part. And it does this on a schedule. So every single day, I can run this multiple times a day, and it will just go and do this. Does it work? Well, I've just launched a new website in August. This is the kind of the data from that, 3,073 new people. Here is my LinkedIn, where I'm really kind of starting to get much more active, because obviously my customers are on LinkedIn. Here's what's wild. Here's a newsletter, gone from 0 to 722 people. But if you know anything about newsletter readership, 52% open rate is insane. And remember, only thing I've got to do is do one thing of approval along the way. Because AI is smart enough, has learned enough about my business, my services, my customers, my tone of voice. So everything is not AI slop and vomited online, but it's always got to do with me and my company. So 52% as an open rate. Has it saved me time? Yes. Has it saved me money? Sure. Has it made me money? Well, I had to turn down stuff. These are LinkedIn messages, and then I got booked for a speaking gig through my website, which is super fun. Now let's talk about image generation, because we all know you've got to have a good image with everything that you do. I worked with a company. They wanted me to Some of you know I have a YouTube channel. YouTube channel is about the sexiest topic in the world called Wi-Fi routers. Yeah, I know. And the company that I was working with said, hey, we have this travel router thing. We want you to use it on an airplane. I don't know if any of you have been through TSA. They're really not a big fan of me plugging stuff in on a plane. But that's what the company wanted. So I said, well, how do I use AI to generate the image that they want? So let's fire up AI. I'm going to give it a very simple prompt. Create a hyper-realistic image of the person in the first image holding this router thingy, in the second image sitting on a plane. And then I go and I say, hey, here's a cool picture. That's me. Let me upload the picture of the product. Let me upload a picture of a plane. So I'm giving my training to my AI that it knows, it's got some context, and I press submit. And that's all I've got to do. And then AI kicks in, automation kicks in, it uploads the information. In this particular case, we're using something called Nano Banana Pro, because that's a better image generator when you're taking multiple images and you're combining them together. So again, picking the right model, the right tool for the right job. And then it pretty much goes and does its thing, and then you get that. Now that's wild. The fact that it's able to take a picture, it's able to work out what's on my shirt from a different angle, taking the product, understanding that there's a plane involved, and then coming up with that is insane. How long did that take me? No time. Did I have to hire a private plane to do this? No. Did I get arrested? Also no. Okay. And now I want to change the scene. I want to be on a rooftop pool. I can do the same thing. Now you saw in my prompts that I gave was very simple, was me on a plane, me holding a product. When you spend some time in creating a real prompt, you get a really good image. Told you I like this cartoon, satirical kind of stuff. I had an idea for Instagram where I wanted to show that you can take one thing and repurpose it for many other things. So it created this image. I then said, cool, I like the first image, but put me in it. Again, works out the writing on the shirt. Kind of looks like me. And I can absolutely Instagrammable image. Let's talk about video content. Video is the hardest bit to do with AI. A lot of people think that it's still not there, therefore don't touch it. I'm going to show you a couple of different options. With video, you have something called image, which we start with one image. You have frame to frame, which means you start with one image and an ending image, and then you have you in your video. Here is a single image. So you've got these notebooks on your desk. I took a picture of a notebook from one of the previous mastermind. Not the best photography picture, let's be honest. And I said, I want to create UGC content, user-generated content, which basically means it's not an ad from the company. It's like as if somebody has actually filmed it. Let's do it. So I said, describe the scene. It's a woman walking to a car after a business event holding the book. Here is the characters you use. There's the book. And I'm going to give it some dialogue. And I'm going to say, go for it. And then off it goes. Now for this, I'm using Sora 2 in this particular case, because Sora is really good at creating this kind of content. And it understands what I'm looking for. It knows what it needs to do. It goes through this looping thing. Now, video does take longer to generate than it does for like a text or just a normal image. But then once it's done, you get something that looks like this.
After the Aspire event, I finally get what I was missing with my finances. Honestly, it's something everyone should attend.
You can produce hundreds of these. Second one is something called frame to frame. So I had to give a presentation about social media, and I wanted to show the fact that you need a framework. And I thought, well, what's the best way to come up with this concept? I don't have a clue. So I went to Gemini, and I said, hey, here's what my presentation's about. I need some ideas. And I thought, well, what about IKEA furniture that like you haven't put together and you don't have the manual for it? And if you have a framework, you're able to put the furniture together. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I made it create the first image, which is the IKEA furniture kind of broken down. And then I created the last image. And then I said to AI, you work it out. That's not bad. Here's another cool thing that everybody can do. There's something called trend jacking. Something cool's going on online, and you're saying, hey, I want to use this for my business. So there was this trend going around in 2020, I think it was.
Good night to everyone except people that drive red Priuses.
Good night to everyone except for people that say they're from a major city but are really from a suburban area.
Good night to everybody except anyone that was late to work today because they stopped and got a coffee first.
Okay, so like, good night to everyone except whoever you want to do. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's get an image of someone going to sleep.
Good night to everyone except those who use cringy emoji and those who think that YouTube is all about getting viral views.
Took the trend and I said, how do I make it for myself? And then I can test things. The one thing about AI automation is that you're able to test things at scale for very, very cheaply and get your winners really quickly to then scale those up.
This is what it's like to go viral. Loads of activity, looks exciting, and no one buys a darn thing. Now I get to clean up their mess.
That cost $2.30 and about $10 on ad spend.
These go viral gurus really piss me off. That's why I only follow Liron Segev for YouTube advice.
No. Right, that one was much more expensive, $3.48 and $10 worth of ad spend. Was it worth it? Yeah, I think it was worth it. All right, putting you in a video. That is probably the hardest thing right now. If you watch these videos...
Thank you for being here at the Mastermind in Jacksonville. I hope you can see the potential for AI in your business as we head into 2026. And we are only scratching the surface of what AI automations can do for your business.
Okay, just notice there's a bit of a lag between what it actually looks like in your screens, but okay. So it's not perfect. I will say, in all fairness to AI, they don't really have a voice for South African, UK, and American mixed together. You may have better luck. Mine, not so much. I also like to play with these AI videos where you can do...
Your funnel is leaking, your pipeline is dry. Let's check out your channel and figure out why. Too much fluff or viral sickness. It's time to YouTube your business.
That nobody really expects it to be perfect, and we'll sell plushies at the back. So you can really have fun with this. And nice thing is, again, the whole point of this is that you can scale and you can test and you can test and you can iterate and iterate and iterate until you find your winners. And if stuff doesn't work, it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, and you haven't spent all this time and money trying to get it to work. You just know immediately, hey, that was a shit idea. Dump it, move on to the next one. So I just showed you a couple of examples, right? We're going from text to images, images to images, frames to frames, videos, and it's all about being able to iterate, and getting the right results. So can AI help you in your marketing? Yes. Can you produce more content? Yes. Can you produce content at scale and make Gary happy? Yes. Okay. And the nice thing is that if you do this right by uploading your own documentation to those project files, it's going to be in your tone of voice. It's not going to be the AI slop of all that garbage that's out there. It's going to be about your business, your customer, your product and services, and the results are really, really good. And you can test and test and test. When we're talking about a couple of dollars versus a couple of $1,000, you can afford to obviously do much more. So that's level 3 AI automations. If you're thinking about your business and what impact AI is going to have on your business, yes, of course, use level 1 and level 2. Ask it questions, absolutely. Use it for data analysis, absolutely. Level 3 is now where you start getting AI to actually do the work for you. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Liron.
You gotta admit, that's pretty awesome. But here's the thing. You don't need all of these. You need the right one. So the question I always ask my client is, What's the biggest bottleneck in your business right now? What do you wish that somehow by magic could be fixed that will make your business so much more efficient or free up so much more of your time? Is it creating content? You know you should be posting multiple times a day, but that never happens because you're too busy, I don't know, running the business. Maybe it's not content. Maybe in your case is you want leads to book more appointments, or maybe it's something else like automatically following up with prospects or clients. Just pick one that is right for you and start there. Now, if you want any help working out what's the best system for your business, where does it make more sense, I've got a link in the description. You can hit me up. If you haven't seen the 3 levels of AI, the prompt framework, or the 6-file template, well, I've got a bunch of videos about that. You can check them out next. Give the video a quick thumbs up before you head out, and I'll see you in those videos. Let's go.